The Kozy King 300. What are some of the features that I like about this stove, and how is it working out for us so far? That's what we're talking about today on the Mallard 5 Farmhouse. Okay, so this is the Kozy King 300 made by DS Stoves. It's an Amish-made stove. I think they make them over in Pennsylvania. This thing is 85% efficient, and it's rated to heat up a house up to 3,000 square feet. And with our house, I think it's just over 2,500 square feet. But I wanted something to go up to 3,000 because this is an old house. It's got some leaks and gaps. No matter what I do to it, it's always going to be leaking some air somewhere. But we've had it since the spring. I think we got it back in March. And we've had some pretty cold days here. We've had a night where it got down to 8 degrees, and this thing keeps us warm. And it lasts a good while too on a load of wood, which I don't hardly ever fill it all the way up. I let this fire go out today because it got into the upper 40s. It wasn't that cold. Our house is holding heat longer, but tonight it's supposed to get down to 24, so I'm going to fire up this stove and it'll keep us warm the whole night. Okay, so before we even open up this door here you have your metal plates that sit on a bolt, and you can open these up or shut them as you need to control airflow going into the stove. So these are pretty easy to operate. Whenever I want my fire to burn hotter, obviously I open them up more, let more air in. But you barely even have to have these things cracked open to get a good hot burning fire going inside the stove. So next, opening up the stove. Let me bring you guys in here so you can see. Now, looking inside this stove, I love how big this firebox is. Plenty of room, and I've got a good bit of ash down here in the bottom. The more wood you can fit in there, the hotter the fire. Also, another feature I really like about this stove, in there in the back, that is a steel plate in the back. It's not fire brick like the sides are, which my old stove, it was fire brick in the back. With that being a steel plate, you don't have to worry about breaking the fire brick when you're throwing logs in there. So I really like that feature. I've explained this in a video before, but I'll do it again. Those tubes on the sides, on the right side and the left side, what those tubes do, those tubes go the whole length up and down on this stove. And when those tubes heat up, they take the cold air off of your floor that your stove is sitting on and make a natural draft, and the hot air comes out the tubes on the top of this stove and into the ductwork up top. So even without power, you can have a natural draft blowing through your ductwork with these tubes on the inside. So I really like that feature too. Next up, we have our grate handle, and all that does is it shakes out the ash in our firebox down into our ash pan, which is right inside here. This is another feature that I really like about this stove. Let me get my gloves here because this is hot. It's got a handle here on the front, and it's pretty full, so I'll dump that before I get a fire started. But it's also got a handle up here on top. Makes it easy to carry and easy to dump. So I'm going to go ahead and dump this now. Okay, so we got that dumped. And now slide that back in. Shut that. Now if you notice, we got another cover here to adjust airflow coming in the bottom of the stove, and that would be more for burning coal, which we'll get into that later. All right, so another thing I like about this stove is there's so many ways to adjust how you're heating and how much wood you're using, how efficient you can make it. Here's our air damper coming out the outlet of the stove. This is going to our chimney on the other side of this wall. So if it's windy, I can shut this some, which I had it shut there. That's wide open, right where it's at. But I like to just run it just about right there, because we get a bunch of wind up here. Here is your stove thermostat, and this tells you how hot your stove is getting. This meter's got little prongs on it that you can see, and once the stove gets a certain temperature, that's when it kicks the blower on for your ductwork, and it starts blowing hot air up through your house. And then once it gets down to a certain temperature, that's when it'll kick off. And normally, for me, when I hear it kick off the first time, that's my cue to get down here and fill it back up. That way you keep a decently hot fire going at all times. Another adjustment you can make is on your draft blower. And on this side, it's kind of hard to see, but there is a plate right here. You can open or shut it, and that controls how much air is being blown into your stove. Now, what controls this draft blower is the thermostat. If the thermostat's calling for heat, this draft blower will be on trying to heat up that fire. Once your thermostat gets to the temperature that you have it set on, this will shut off. And that's how you save wood, by not adding as much air to it and not burning it up as fast. Over here on the side, right here, is your switch for your blower to go in your ductwork. Here is where your filter is at for your, this is the cold air return. And there's the filter, easy to get to, easy to change. Back here for the draft blower is a lever you pull out if you want to burn coal, and you push in for wood. The difference is, whenever you're burning wood, you can blow air down onto the wood. For coal, you want to blow air up underneath. So let's talk about coal. So right here are the bags of coal that I bought from Tractor Supply. And I don't know if there's something that I'm doing wrong or it's this coal, because I had one of you subscribers tell me that the Tractor Supply coal was junk. Well, I'm starting to believe that, because people on YouTube talk about burning coal for 12 hours up to 24 hours. I can't get 7 hours out of a 40-pound bag of coal. Yes, I can get some heat, but it's not lasting very long. And when I come to check on the stove later, after a while, like 8 hours, there's still coals in there that weren't even burned yet. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Once I figure it out, we'll have a video just for burning coal for this stove. So when I'm burning wood, once I get this fire going, and it usually takes, probably about 3 to 5 pieces of wood to get this stove warmed up. But once you get this stove warmed up and you have a whole bottom layer of glowing coals and embers, once you put that next load in, like I'm doing right now, this stove will burn you out. I've been saving my wood lath from the walls that I've been tearing down and using it as kindling, and boy does it take off quick. So with this stove, we can easily go 7 or 8 hours on a load of wood. And if I would jam pack this stove super tight and fit every piece that I could inside of it, I think we could easily get to 12 hours, which is just great. I'm not used to that, especially with the old one. Used to have to fill that thing up almost 2 every 3 hours. All right, fire's starting to take off real nice. The blower is going to be kicking on soon, so it's going to mess up the sound. Would I recommend this stove to anybody? I sure would. It's been doing great for us, even in this old 100-some-year-old farmhouse with all the gaps and cracks in it. It's been keeping us warm and then some. There's been some nights where it's been actually too hot. You can't beat wood heat. I want to get coal going because that just gives us another alternative for ways to heat. Once I figure that out, I'll be making a video of it. But until now, hey, we've got some free wood heat. I say free because it takes a lot of work and time, but I enjoy that. So I hope this helped you if you're looking at buying a wood stove or looking at a DS stove, how it works and how it's been working out for us. So until next time, everybody, thanks for watching.